Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dan here from the 11 Cast, and this is the episode about myself and the 11 Cast. Just to give you an idea, my name is Daniel Moreen. My name is Daniel, which means God will be my judge. My mother gave me that name. She gave me and both of my brothers biblical names, David, Jonathan, and Daniel. I'm the youngest, and I really do like that name. The more I've gotten older, the story of Daniel in the Christian Bible is a story of someone who persevered and wasn't afraid to be themselves despite the judgments of the world. Daniel was someone who was put through hell and came out unscathed. He spent his time in a lion's den, and he came out when the intention of that lion's den was to kill him. He was essentially being fed to lions, and he didn't die. And I used to go by Dan, but I mumble a lot, and my voice is kind of funny, and it's changed a lot since I was younger. But I mumble so much that people, whenever I meet them and introduce myself, think I'm saying Ben or Stan or any other three-letter word. So as I've gotten older, I've started to embrace the name Daniel because there's less confusion with my voice just saying Daniel versus saying Dan. So Daniel means God will be my judge, and I really have grown to appreciate that name more and more as I've grown older. Now, as far as my artist name Exzisd, that's Exzisd, that was a name that my friend Mickey, who goes by Dr. Buds IL on Instagram, helped me think of a few months ago after I had a car crash. I've been doing YouTube, I've been doing radio, television broadcasting, podcasts since 2002. Actually, as a matter of fact, I have tapes from being on WONC back in Naperville. This is from my 2003 radio workshops. I wish I had a cassette tape to show you, a cassette player rather, to show you the work I did on the radio since 2004 with Keel 101, WONC, Shadow Metro, Chicago. So I do have a background in radio, which I was studying. Also, I did work for KMSB Fox 11 in sales in Tucson, Arizona. Got to see behind the scenes how, television's done in the modern era. And I've been doing music podcasts, interview podcasts, and YouTube for a very long time now. I don't even know how long. One of my first podcasts was called Demo's Slices, which was a music podcast where I talked about music I was listening to at the time and just kind of what was going on in my life. From there, I moved on to, by the way, that podcast was hosted on a website called Podomatic. I don't even know if it's still around, but if you can find it, send me the link. That'd be awesome. I also did a podcast called the ASMR Dreamcast. I don't remember the name of it even, but it was basically an ASMR podcast where I played calming music. It was an ASMR podcast where I played calming music and then talked between the songs about the artist and tried to be calming to help people with anxiety disorder and depression like myself. But I stopped doing that because the copyright claims on YouTube, even though I was running the music through filters which made it sound more dreamy and more ethereal and more had more reverb, it was still getting picked up by the algorithm. So I stopped doing that because I got strikes on my channel, and I had a channel that was just my name, Daniel Moreen, with hundreds and hundreds of videos on it with my ASMR videos, which I deleted. And so the channel that I've got millions of views on was called Mandoreen, which started out of Astronautical Throwbacks, which was my clothing company that I started in 2010 and failed. And so the URL for my old channel is Mr. Astronautical, though I've rebranded that channel as Exzisd also. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm starting Exzisd from scratch and back to where I was starting from here. How did I get the name Exzisd? Well, I have a deep interest in philosophy and existentialism, things like that. I've studied a lot of different religions. I've got the Bible over here in English and Spanish, but I've also studied all world religions from Hinduism, Buddhism, which is a philosophy, by the way, which I adopt. I believe in the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. All life is suffering, created by our all life is suffering created by our desires, and the only way to alleviate those desires, or that pain rather, is to get rid of those desires and then reach a state of nirvana. By the way, small fact, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, was one of the first compact discs I ever heard in the 90s. One of the first albums I remember, alongside Green Day's Dookie and Smashing Pumpkins' double disc Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. But the name Exzisd, basically, I wanted something short, and I was brainstorming. I made a post on Facebook about how I could rebrand everything I do on social media to be under one name. And my friend Mickey, said something about Exzisd, just EXIST, but that was already taken. So, just kind of went with what I could get. I wanted something that was short, not any numbers and letters in it or underscores. I wanted it to be short and original, and so we thought of Exzisd, EXZISD, the D at the end for Daniel, which is my name, and the rest is sort of history. Now what I do is I make music, I do YouTube, I like to promote people, and I've just started this podcast, which you're watching right now, called the 11 Cast. And the philosophy behind this podcast is that time waits for no one, and to do what you can with what you have. Because I have better equipment to make this podcast. If I wanted to, put a bunch of editing into it and film it on a nice camera with a nice microphone and get it set up, I could do that, but I don't want to, because this is sending a message. The message that is, do what you can with what you have, which is a philosophy I adopted from motivational speaker Les Brown, who I like to watch whenever I can. I used to watch him every morning, but now it's sort of, whenever I see him in my recommended videos, or if I'm telling a friend about him. I'm really into motivational speakers, but also not BS, wishy-washy motivational speakers. I do believe in the law of attraction, and that your thoughts become things, and the thoughts you have in your head shape your subjective reality, which that's a whole can of worms to dig into. But one of my favorite motivational speakers, who wouldn't consider himself a motivational speaker, he's an entrepreneur named Gary Vaynerchuk. You can follow him at Gary V on Instagram, but he's a real hustler, and he's going to tell you the hard truths that you don't want to hear, but you probably need to hear. That is, no one's going to make your dream happen for you. You just got to get up and go. I think it's Einstein who said an object in motion tends to stay in motion, so I want to keep moving and keep putting out content and doing what I can with what I have. And I repeat myself a lot because repetition is the father of learning. And the more you repeat those thoughts, say you have negative thoughts in your head, the more you focus on the positive. Not that you avoid the negative. You acknowledge that there's negative, there's pain, there's suffering, but then you take that thought captive and you don't let it consume you, you just welcome it and let it pass on by, like Jack Kornfield, who's a Buddhist teacher. He says, thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. Just let them pass through you, and then refocus your mind every day onto what you like. So today I'm focusing on the fact that I'm alive, that I have a roof over my head, a bed to sleep in, I got a computer and a phone to film this on, I got a Nintendo Switch, I have a family that loves and supports me, I have friends that love and support me, as messed up as a person as I have been, and as much things as I'm going through in my life right now. I don't know where my next meal is going to come from, but things have been given to me, and I'm thankful for that. And so the shortness of this podcast is because if you're not interested in someone after 11 minutes, well, then maybe it's just to turn the light on to other people. I don't care if you have a big audience or small audience. I enjoy sharing the art of others and sharing that love with others and encouraging people to pursue their dreams, pursue their goals. And outside of my work with that in the last few seconds here, I enjoy playing video games. Currently, I'm playing Skyrim for Nintendo Switch. I played it for Xbox originally back in the day. Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8. Right now I'm playing a game called Riptide Renegade, which was like $4, but I also really enjoy this game called Stardew Valley, Breath of the Wild, Zelda. I'm a huge Nintendo fan and I love video games. So we're about out of time here on my self-interview. This has been the 11 Cast. My name is Dan. You can follow me at Exzisd everywhere online. Thank you very much for your time. God bless. Papa bless. I'm out.